Millions of tons of food worth billions of dollars go straight into the garbage every year in this province. Municipalities manage that waste and they're looking to do better. With us now on how her city is creating Canada's first circular food economy from Guelph, Ontario, Barb Swartzentruber, Executive Director of the Smart Cities Office for the City of Guelph. Hi Barb, it's nice to meet you.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Do you mind giving us just a quick explanation of what a circular food economy is?
Sure. The best way to think about a circular food economy is to think about our current economy, which is quite linear in nature. So we take materials from the earth, we use those resources to create copious amounts of goods, and then inevitably we end up throwing those goods away. And all of the waste along the way that goes into producing those goods. So a circular economy is one that actually, in contrast to that, anticipates and designs for all of those resources to either safely be returned back into nature or to be put into other systems where they can be made into other things, reused, renewed, recycled.
And how would you describe the state of the food system in Guelph?
Well, the city of Guelph is a mid-sized city of about 120,000 people, and we're surrounded by the county of Wellington, which has a rich agricultural history and some of the best Class A farmland in Ontario. We're right in the heart of the Toronto to Waterloo Innovation Corridor, so it's a place where technology innovation in clean tech and agri-food and advanced manufacturing takes place. Another important part of our food system, I would say, is the University of Guelph, which is a treasure. It's Canada's food university, and the Arrow Food Institute and world-renowned food experts are located here. The community sector in Guelph, in fact, created one of the first municipal food charters nearly 10 years ago now, and they're constantly innovating and trying new ways to make sure that people have access to healthy food. So the food system is really made up here of passionate farmers and entrepreneurs and urbanists and social innovators that are all really working hard to create a vibrant and inclusive food system. But in spite of all of that, and in spite of the fact that we are a pretty affluent community, 1 in 7 households are food insecure, and the cost of healthy food just keeps rising. It's gone up about 30% in just the last 8 years alone.
How much is that, you were talking about the innovation that's happening in Guelph. So how much of food waste and food insecurity, how big a problem is it in Guelph?
We can look to it's no different than the problem on a global scale. So globally, 1 billion people are hungry or undernourished, and the paradox is in that despite the abundance of food, nearly 40% of the food never makes it to the plate. And all of that food waste inevitably ends up in landfills where it creates methane gas that's about 25 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. So the food system itself is a driver of climate change, and the waste from the food system certainly goes into contributing to that.
You know, at the beginning of the pandemic, people were running to the grocery stores to stock up on wipes, to stock up on toilet paper. And then we live in a new reality of having to line up to get into the grocery stores. Has COVID-19 exposed any flaws in the food system in Guelph, Ontario?
Yeah, the pandemic, like across Canada, has certainly exposed the vulnerabilities of the food system and the deficiencies. It's exposed the fact that when the system gets into this kind of disequilibrium, the supply and demand get out of balance. So I think what it's also done is it's put a face on all of the people that are part of the food system, from the grocery store clerks to the farmers to the truck drivers that distribute the food to the restaurant owners and so on. So it has really impacted our community. We expect and we know that it has placed even more people into food insecurity. And I don't know about you, but it certainly meant that a lot more plastics and takeout containers have come into my house. So it really has had an impact in a variety of ways. Food businesses are struggling to survive and to adapt, although some of them have been able, like restaurants, and the city of Guelph has created a dining district, outdoor dining district, which has helped. But everybody is struggling to pivot to respond to the new reality.
I think it's been a major wake-up call for all of us because we take certain things for granted. And with Guelph, Ontario, thinking of the future, can you explain to us what our food future is?
Sure. So last year, we were really fortunate with our partners, the County of Wellington, to win the Smart City Challenge. Infrastructure Canada, the federal government put out a challenge across Canada. 120 communities applied, and we were lucky to win, successful in winning $10 million. So
wait, can I just interject for a second? So what was the goal of the Smart Cities Challenge?
So the goal of the Smart Cities Challenge was for communities to identify a community or social problem to which they might apply social innovation as well as data and technology to try to solve it. Mm-hmm. So when we looked at that challenge and we looked at our community, we really felt that we have, of course, had to focus on agri-food because that's such a part of our community. And the fact that we are on the Toronto to Waterloo Innovation Corridor and have deep skills and expertise in data and technology locally and at the university, we felt that agri-food was certainly the focus of our challenge. And then when we looked at the issues that people were facing around food insecurity, the environmental impact of food, we decided that our vision would be to create Canada's first circular food economy.
And what would that look like if you could walk us through the steps of what you're planning to do in Guelph, Ontario?
Sure. So I can talk a little bit about what we've already started with in this last year. We wanted to move quickly and accelerate our work to support the social and economic recovery. But our goals are to increase access to healthy, nutritious food for people, to create new circular businesses and collaborations, and to not only prevent food waste, but to find new and creative ways of using waste to create more value. So in this last few months, we really just got started in January. We've created a micro grant program for businesses who are looking to pivot their business model or people that are looking to start new food businesses. We're providing tools and consulting to food processors so that they can reduce and prevent food waste. Our partners, our food security partners, have been delivering emergency food boxes to people. We're looking at trying to deliver over 100,000 of those by the fall. And we've been doing some creative things with restaurants, helping them become online food delivery hubs from local producers and to deliver that food in a carbon neutral way through e-bikes. So you can call and have local food delivered to your home on an e-bike. We also delivered 700 children's gardening kits to children to support their learning and gardening at home during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And in the fall, we're going to launch an urban agriculture challenge so that we can have a whole variety of projects that help us understand the art of the possible in terms of growing food for community benefit within urban areas. There's work that we're going to do a challenge in our waste system to bring in artificial intelligence to better understand the kind of waste that happens at the curb and to potentially give feedback to households on how they could reduce that waste or use it differently. There's a whole range of work that the county is doing to help farmers to get access to broadband connectivity, which is really lacking in rural areas, and to help them to learn and deploy and understand more digital agriculture technologies. So that's just a range of things we've started with, and you're going to see those kinds of projects continue over the next 4 years as we figure out how to really reimagine our food system.
So this will take 4 years, you said?
Yeah, it's a 4-year project, and we have over 100 collaborators from every sector in the community, from education to healthcare to the business sector. and so on. So these are all leaders in our community and residents that are quite passionate about supporting this project and really reimagining what a sustainable, equitable, just food system could look like in the future.
I was going to say you can have a great idea, but if you don't have buy-in from the people, it's just an idea. So how has the response been like from the community?
You know what? People are showing up every day with tremendous ideas about how they can get involved and how they can contribute. In the next month, we're going to launch an online platform that will connect people wanting to do, community gardening, all the way to technology and data experts that want to lend their expertise to this project.
Do I,
And yep.
no, sorry, go ahead.
So we really have had a tremendous response, and the project is being led by agencies in our community like public health, like our social innovation center, and so on.
Do other jurisdictions have anything like this?
Not, we will be the first circular food community in Canada. There are certainly other jurisdictions that are working on circular economy. The Netherlands is working on smart cities and circular economy. So there are places to look to, but putting it all together and focusing on food is a little bit unique.
And how will this project affect the average household in Guelph?
Well, we think about what will it look like to a resident sitting on their front porch 4 years from now, and what we hope is they'll have more healthy, affordable food options right within their own neighborhood, that they'll see urban agriculture projects and how food is grown and they can get involved. They'll know a lot more about how to manage food waste, and they'll know their local farmers, and they'll be able to access fresh produce from them as well. They'll be able to make more choices to consume products that are sustainable within the food system.
Barb, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's always so exciting to hear about innovation happening in Ontario that's offering solutions. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time. Take care.
The Agenda in the Summer with Nam Kiwanuka is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.